What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology. The Titans action spawning in the right side of the map in the red color, playing as Odin. His name is Count Von Count. You better count your Vons, because he's going to count you in a second. I don't know. His opponent today in the blue color playing as Ra. His name is Kimo. We've seen quite a bit of Kimo lately with his Ra. We'll see how he's going to go in this series. He's definitely been having some troubles making Ra work thus far, especially against the Odin players. Well, at least he played against Yoshi and had some troubles. He's now going to be going up against Count Von Count. So a very different Norse player with a very, very different style. Count is one of those guys who, in my opinion, he's got some of the best RTS mechanics under his belt. He's incredibly fast. He's going to be raiding you non-stop. He's one of those guys that you would see probably having a lot of success if you played StarCraft 2 or StarCraft 1, for example, just because that's how he's just a speedy boy. He's got a way with the mouse. And we'll see how it all goes. Relics here have been found there for Kimo. He's going to be very happy finding that Ankh of Ra. An extra 2.4 free favor per minute is I mean, it's kind of worth a third of a monument or half a monument, a third of a monument, I guess, for Kimo. So he can actually basically delay a second monument for quite some time in this game and have a lot of the same benefits here, as we do see that Kimo has decided to go for an early husbandry in this game. There's not a whole lot of berry bushes here. He's going to have to jump onto the herdables very, very early or move out onto those zebra there. There's some gazelle over on this position, as it looks like Kimo, after all is said and done, I don't like the decision because there is plenty of different variants of Savannah where getting hunting dogs is going to be very beneficial. But on this specific variant here, it looks like Kimo is going to be coming out with a bit of an advantage going straight in onto these herdables, instead of having to run around and eat the three zebra here and come up here onto these gazelle. If we take a look at the map, there is a decent amount of giraffe as well. So potentially getting hunting dogs would have been more beneficial, because what's going to happen is Count Von Count is going to be able to grab all of that hunt in this game and have a very, very strong game here. So we'll see how it's all going to go for Kimo. See what his build's going to be, what sort of a strategy he's going to go for as the villagers here, for some reason, don't build the mining camp. Kimo's other villager here is going to grab that final bit of gold. He clicks just a little bit too early there. Not that it matters. He just loses 1 gold after all is said and done. But a little bit of chaos in the early game for Kimo. This is something that is all too often for Kimo, in my opinion. That's just possibly, for as strong as Kimo is, such a strong defensive Ra player. The one thing that if Kimo started nailing consistently would bring him to a nigh untouchable level would be his build orders. If he could just get every single iteration kind of down of Age of Mythology, he would be nigh unstoppable. I don't think he would have too many difficulties in Age of Mythology against too many players if he just managed to hit his timings consistently instead of having to play from behind literally every single game because of the things that go wrong. Whereas right now we see Count Von Count hitting a fairly decent Freya age up timing, given the starting. I mean, with Odin you can great hunt the zebra and you're always going to have a good game. We do see he has 4 villagers on wood, a couple of villagers over on gold at the moment. As the villagers come over here onto the wood line, gold villagers onto the gold mine. And I mean, this looks to me kind of like Count Von Count's going for a far second town center. And it looks like he's going for the back second town center instead of the forward one, which does play around. You know how I was talking about in that game with Yoshi versus Kimo about the economic cheese that Yoshi was doing. If you go for the back town center, it's no longer an economic cheese because it's really tough for the Ra player to scout this town center. Obviously, if you're playing against sets, they can use vision and then shifting sands you to your home base. But We'll see how things are going to go as Kimo is kind of forced into a very, very... Okay, so there's two things to think about here. I did not notice that Kimo picked Bast, but there's two things to take note. So one, Kimo has himself access to Ankh of Ra. So this is going to boost the ability of this Ra Bast build quite significantly. Having that Ankh of Ra is going to get a lot more Sphinx out, a lot more Batsukos or Scarabs or Avengers or Mummies out. But two, he's having a farm in the classical, in the archaic age. And one of the huge weaknesses of Egyptian is that if they're farming without plow, it is a gigantic, an absolute gigantic weakness. This is why the plow gives 22% bonus gather rate to Egyptian villagers, is because their base gather rate is so absurdly low. As we see more villagers coming out here. And I think it's another... Honestly, I think it's another reason why the Egyptian economy is rather weak in the late game. And I'm not suggesting it needs to be changed. I'm just saying that if you are if irrigation increases the base gather rate by 10%, and your base gather rate is lower than the other civilizations, then the other civilizations are going to have even more of an increase to their food gather rate. Now, this is obviously offset by the fact that Egyptian players can empower their town center. So this is why I say I'm not suggesting it needs to be something different. I'm just saying that it's a thing. As we do see the rain coming down, the Sphinx are out. We're going to be seeing Sacred Cats coming through quite fast here for Kimo. That also offsets that weakness of those units there, as the Valkyrie standing in place here, waiting to see what happens. As we do see the Sphinx coming through here, as a Longhouse going to be coming down. This is this is a strategy we actually haven't seen for quite some time, and it's a very, very strong strategy against Norse, and Norse players have got to be very prepared to play against it. I consider it a cheese. I don't think it's a consistent strategy to work against Norse, but you've got to know how to defend against. And the strategy I'm talking about, and whether or not Kimo goes for it or not, he might go for something different, does remain to be seen here. It's what makes it quite difficult to play against, is you don't know if it's coming or not. You can guess, but the strategy is the semi-fast Mythic through Horus into a huge timing attack that absolutely massacres everything in the Norse base. Now, the counter to this is to make sure you build your buildings around your town centers so that Tornado doesn't kill your town center, and you get yourself Masons. If you get that, you're good to go. Tornado doesn't do anything. You defend against the Horus timing very, very easily. Make sure you get yourself out Hersir and Jarls. Good to go. When we are seeing that armory coming up, but count on count is not surrounding the town center like I would have liked to see here, which will be meaning that Kimo is most likely going to get at least some value if he does decide to go for this fast Mythic here. As the Hathor is on the way, House is coming down, and the wall's coming up all across the map. I like this play as well from Count von Count, keeping the units, the Sphinx, from coming in and taking out the villagers, but also preventing the line of sight from getting onto this town center is a big deal as well. As the house over here does go down, Count von Count here is still pumping out those, well, he was pumping out Hersir, but it looks like he's not anymore, and he's about to start getting a lot more resources. Watchtowers coming through as well to prevent any sort of rock raids or anything from coming into his main base. He will be finishing up these walls, it seems, very, very shortly. As the villagers are coming over here. To grab that center of the map. Obviously, Kimo knows that he's got full control, so he can very easily get this position here. But this obviously is not going to be that fast Mythic. We see them, well, it might be a fast Mythic, but it's not a direct fast Mythic here from Kimo. He's getting that Migdol stronghold up. So technically speaking, this timing might hit a little bit later, but it might hit with more oomph as the Valkyrie does get pushed back here. Hersir coming through. We do see Skadi on the way here for Count von Count. Very, very nice timing there, given all of the units that he's built. The second town center is up as well, as the Hersir does push those Cryo Sphinx away. Moving at 5.3 speed is very difficult to deal with. Chariot Archers coming out here for Kimo, as he is looking to put pressure on, but I mean, what can he really attack here? Bringing the rock over onto this position here. Where is his rock? Yeah, if he brings the rock over onto this position here, he can jump over the wall and start putting pressure onto these dwarves. This is why I say walls, they're not... Or you can just kill the wall, I guess, is another option. But this is one of the reasons I say walls aren't the best against Ra, is that Ra should be able to just utilize his rock, sit it over the wood line where your opponent is used to wall it up, and then you can just drop the units from one side to the other. As we do see the Locust getting dropped down, count on count, splits the army up nicely, only loses 2 dwarves there. As the throw and action are out, do they have the upgrade? No upgrade, but they will be able to at least damage the rock a little bit as the wall's getting broken down. Kimo pushing into the main base here as the dwarves going to be pulling onto the wood line for the time being on that top location there. Surely Kimo is going to be seeing that with his rock and everything else over here, but the frost does get dropped down. Kimo sitting at 81 population, Camel Can at 81 population himself as well. As the hill fort going up, the frost giant going to be coming through to start picking off some units here. We'll see if Kimo wants to freeze that. Looks like he doesn't. Oh, sorry, Camel wants to freeze that as Kimo retreats away. Looks like he doesn't want to do that. Instead, going straight after that Patsukos. The one thing you do have to be careful of is when Frost finishes, you have to wait an extra second or two before the Frost Giant uses his special ability. So we do see that special ability going down there. And that might be the time that Count needs to actually prevent that Patsukos from running away. Obviously, the rock is here, so he can pick that one up and actually dodge the special ability as well. As we do see the Pharaoh coming through to try and deal with that Frost Giant as well. Meanwhile, the Mythic Age is on the way now for Kimo. He still has got himself that... he's still got himself that Eclipse. He's got himself 56 favor in the bank. And the Sphinx does get frozen there as the Pharaoh is going to continue to sling those balls of fury onto the Frost Giant. As the army going to be retreating back. Horus at 30%, Handax 25% here as well, as he's just getting so many upgrades, but he's still on 1 town center. The villager differential is significantly different. Locust was dropped, and arguably Locust was dropped a little bit early. One of the big strengths of the Tornado Locust play is that you can tornado the town center. The villagers get half HP'd roughly by the tornado. Excuse me. And then the Locust can come down when the villagers pop out and pick the rest of those villagers off, like almost guaranteed. As the units coming through here to push out lots of army for Count Von Count, as it doesn't look like Kimo quite has got the resources he needs to deal with this army at this point from Count. So that town center is not going to be going the way there for Kimo. If we take a look in the main base here, we've got signal fires. There's no easy way to get that line of sight onto the town center for the tornado either straight away, as a hill fort coming up on this position, as Kimo is going to be looking to put some pressure there. He's got plenty of favor in the bank, plenty of food here to start making those Avengers. But still 2 Frost Giants are out. Hill fort coming up. And we do... That's not how I expected a tornado to be used. Utilizing on their hill fort does open this gold mine up to being attacked. But there's a gold mine down the bottom there as well. And we're seeing the army having to retreat back as the hill fort coming up. Over on this position, we haven't yet seen Kimo starting his Avenger production just yet. He's only got 37 villagers right now. He's just getting that second town center on the back there. As the hill fort comes up here for Count Von Count. Count's got plenty of population here. He just needs to deal with this rock over here, utilizing those throw and action to push the rock back as the units are going to be popping out over on this position. Still does not have that upgrade to get the bonus damage onto the rock. Nice usage of this forest as well from Kimo to take these units down. Lovely play there as the army on this position does get dealt with. Kimo now pushing further in front on, or it's equalized at the very least on population. But the villager advantage for Count Von Count is gigantic here. He just needs to make sure that he uses it. He allows it to be used, so to speak, as the Huskar coming over here to try and deal with things on that location there. Wouldn't mind seeing the Frost Giant move over there as well to try and deal with that Patsukos, but not happening just yet as the Chariot Archer getting cleaned up. Dwarves back onto the gold mine here as well. We do see the Raven has checked out this gold mine here. Count Von Count definitely has seen that and he's like, oh, I'm going to raid that. That's how he thinks. He's like, if he sees any opportunity to hit his opponent, he's going to start attacking that over and over again. There's so many camelry out here for Kimo. One of the problems with building the camelry is that you don't have the resources to build the Avengers inside of this strategy. As we do see the Eclipse getting dropped down here, there's only 3 units at this point out, and this will allow Kimo to get full control of the map, which means he can get town center here, town center here, and we do indeed see the raiding cavalry. This is something that the Count just does so well. He's just consistently sending like that 1 unit off to just attack the villages while your opponent is not paying attention. I mean, Kimo at this point is full focused on the army over here. He's not going to notice the raiding cavalry attacking his villages. You got to be so on top of it. As the Throw an Axeman retreating back, we do see that one Avenger has been caught out as the army's still trying to push through, but Count just pulls back, no problem. He's actually clicked up through Balder at this point. One of the big, easy ways to deal with the Myth Unit Avenger spam of Ra is an early Balder attack. You do want to get yourself out some Ox Caravans. We are indeed seeing that happening here for Count, but an early Balder, early Ragnarok does allow you to, 1, you push through those Avengers easily. 2, you deal with the Camel. You push through the Avengers easily. 2, you deal with the Camelry easily. So, or even the Chariot Archers easily. All this stuff comes through, and on a map like this where all the gold mines are forward, and the fact that Kimo's economy isn't set up, the Ragnarok can be very, very potent as opposed to trying to use an early Ragnarok against, say, a Tar Ra player, which doesn't seem to work as well. Now, this is still not the earliest of Rags, as we see the Avenger getting caught out of position here as Count not paying attention, but he does manage to hit that one. This is so bad for Kimo, losing those Avengers. It's so many resources, 250 food, 25 favor. Is a big deal, especially when you've only got a finite amount of favor to be spending as Ra. As the Frost Giants push forward, take down another Cryo Sphinx here as well. That raiding cavalry looks like it was dealt with as we see the Kimo moving forward. There's the Mythic Age here for Count. Does he want to click it straight away? Plenty of resources in the bank here. How are the armory upgrades looking? We've got copper shields only for Count. As now the Fire Giant is out. And Kimo is on the back foot here. Axeman starting to come through here as well for Kimo, as the Ragnarok does indeed get clicked here. Kimo's at 115 of 145. He doesn't even have full population here, and he's about to get hit by a 264 population Ragnarok. But Kimo's being sneaky here, and I love the sneaky. If we take a look here from Count's perspective, he doesn't even know there's a gold mine there. He doesn't even know there's a gold mine there. And that's going to be at least 7 villages on that gold mine. We do see some villagers making their way over there. Will Count notice it or not? There's a lot he needs to worry about. He does see the villagers making their way over onto that position. Kimo going to be retreating back. The army, the red wave is blowing, striking, smashing, crashing through the Migdol stronghold here. There's a barracks going down here as well. We see the heroes of Ragnarok targeting down the town center on this position. There are a ton of axemen out, but Kimo still has not managed to get himself up to 145 population. And Count is scouting around and has spotted the mining camp. He sees it, but he hasn't reacted to it just yet. He sent the units there, making sure he's got full line of sight on literally everything, but he's going to be putting more focus onto something else first, and then potentially sending some units over. There's still some resources in the bank here to get himself 4 town centers. He has a handful of farms, only just 3. So it's a tough time for him to re-economize after it's all said and done. So this is going to be a very tough time for him if he doesn't win the game outright here. So he needs to continue putting pressure on. Kimo's now at 115 to 130 population, sitting inside his town center here. He's got fortified town centers. He doesn't have masons. His towers don't have guard towers either. He does manage to get himself axemen here. He's axemen, heavy axemen, but there's still going to be a frost giant, fire giant somewhere as well. As the villagers on this point getting targeted down nicely. We still haven't seen Count send the units down to this gold mine to take it down. I'm not sure why that's the case. Big mistake there. He knows it's there now. He could send 1 or 2 heroes of Ragnarok to clean up all of those villages on that location, as Kimo's population is dropping down very fast. The fire giant coming back in onto this location to help out to boot here as the heroes of Ragnarok here, the villagers have garrisoned in, and now we see the Rag heroes moving over onto that gold mine, onto that location down the bottom, it seems, as Axeman is in hot pursuit, but that's not going to be that helpful. I swear Count Von Count has seen it. He has seen it, but he's just not... It's just classic Ragnarok problems here. As the town center now going to start getting targeted down. The Frost Giants can help out here mightily to take out those Axemen, to stop them dealing damage, with the help of the Fire Giant to take out the Axemen as well. Count Von Count's just about to drop down to that 150 or 145 population to start his economy again. Kimo's got himself 47 villages remaining, but 77 of 120 population here as well. As the hero of Ragnarok here, sitting idly by with 8 over on this position, could definitely come in and help in the fighting. As Count seemingly has taken down the majority of these units, Kimo's nearly got 0 resources or 0 income left in terms of food, with only the 11 farms left gathering at this point to continue building those Axemen. Is he building villages out of here as well? He's not even building villages, so he's just trying to get as many Axemen out as he possibly can here. As the villagers getting taken off those farms, that's going to put a stop to the Axemen production, and the villagers are starting to come through. Not only that, there's going to be Fire Giant starting to swarm this location, as well as the army can take down this town center to boot. On this location, the Axemen do manage to clean up the majority of the remaining heroes of Ragnarok here, but I'm not sure Count's going to care too much here. As I mean, he's got this trade route going. Is it going to the right place? Yes, he's getting 55 gold per trip there, as the town center does indeed go down. The villagers are going to be attempting to make a break for it to save their lives, as the heroes of Ragnarok chasing them down, trying to pick off as many of those as he possibly can here in this game. But where can he run to? He can run to his Axemen here at this moment. If Kimo can get his town center back up, to me, it seems like this game is relatively equal in terms of villager count. 10 villages for Count, 7 ox caravans for Count as well, versus the 29 villages for Kimo. Count's economy is still going up, but there's Fire Giants. There's everything else here. These villages are still very easily taken out, as the Axemen are going to get cleaned up here, it would seem, if they do want to take that fight outside of the Watchtower location. There is the Huskar going to charge in onto the priest there. Nice play from good micro, from Count Von Count to try and bring those priests closer to the infantry units, as the rest of those Axemen do end up getting cleaned up. Granary gets dropped down, farms are up. Kimo also needs an answer to the Fire Giants, and the answer to the Fire Giants actually here for a Horus Ra player is probably Avengers. You probably want to make Avengers, but they cost a lot of food, and Kimo does not have the food at this moment. Will we see Kimo at any point getting pushed off of this gold mine, or is Count just not realizing that it's there? I mean, he sees a blue dot on the minimap. I know Count is a player who consistently checks the minimap, but it's still very, very close here. It looks like the villager count is coming into a very equal position, as Count's still trying to focus down those villagers on those farms. There's a couple of very low HP villagers there, as more units starting to pile up to continue putting the pressure on. Count says, I want to keep fighting. Let us fight. As the Frost Giant coming through can take out some more villagers here as well. Villagers are falling. You can hear their deaths coming through, as well as the Frost Giant does fall, but that's 600 HP, 80% pierce armor against those priests. Is just going to stay alive for so long. The Thrown Axeman doing so much damage here as well, as Count on Count's 25 villagers at this point. He's going to be having a ton on the gold, making those dwarves as well to boot. He's got the farms coming through. He's got the villagers on wood to build more farms, as well as the villagers coming through onto this position to start fighting. We will be seeing Count on Count retreating back ever so slightly. But now look at the villagers, 24 remaining for Kimo. Kimo's still on this position. Imagine one hero of Ragnarok moving over there to help out, as those priests still getting some good damage done. Good micro yet again from Count. This is something he's shown already that he's capable of. Pulls the Fire Giant back, sends the infantry forward to take those priests. Good micro from Kimo to react to it. He needs to keep those priests alive as best as he can, as more Axemen are coming out. Huntress Axe on the way here for Count Von Count to help out, and in that moment, Kimo decides 3 town center Count Von Count with only 24 villagers remaining is too much to deal with. Really, really nice play here from Count Von Count. I'm always a fan of seeing the Bast one town center player get beaten by Norse, because I do believe that it is as cheese as it gets for Ra in this matchup. It's a when you go Bast in this matchup against and you go for the semi-fast Mythic or the fast Mythic, I 100% think that the Norse player should be able to deal with it. The Norse player should be able to. It takes too long for the timing to hit, and it doesn't make any sense to me that it should work. And when it does work, it makes me frustrated. So I'm really happy to see Count Von Count able to deal with it here and take the Ra of Kimo out. First win to Kimo, first win to Count Von Count, but it's a long series, 3 games. 3-game series or best of 3, so Kimo can still make some adaptations in game number 2 and try and bring it back here. Count Von Count's going to have to keep that level high in order to take Kimo out here, that's for sure. If you guys are enjoying this game, please consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next game.